Hello, little dreamers, and welcome to our story corner. Are you ready for a magical adventure? Today, we're going to journey to a faraway land, to a tall, tall tower, hidden deep within a forest. This is the story of Rapunzel, the princess with the most beautiful, long, golden hair you have ever seen. So, snuggle up, get comfy, and let's begin our tale. Once upon a time, in a kingdom filled with sunshine and laughter, lived a kind king and queen who were expecting a baby. The queen fell very ill, and the only thing that could save her was a special, magical flower called a Rapunzel, which glowed with a golden light. This flower grew in the secret garden of a powerful enchantress named Mother Goth. Desperate to save his wife, the king bravely snuck into the garden and took the flower. The queen was healed, and soon after, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. They named her but this little princess was special. Her hair shone like the sun, inheriting the magical healing powers of the flower. Mother Gothel, who had been hoarding the flower's magic to stay young forever, was furious. She discovered the secret of the baby's hair. On one dark night, she stole the little princess away. She took Rapunzel to a tall, isolated tower deep in the forest, with no doors and only one single window at the very top. Here, Gothel raised Rapunzel as her own, never telling her the truth about her royal family. The only way to get up into the tower was for Rapunzel to let down her magnificent, long, golden hair. Every day Gothel would stand at the bottom of the tower and call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And Rapunzel, knowing no other life, would cascade her shimmering braids down for Gothel to climb. Rapunzel grew up in the lonely tower. Her only friends were the birds that visited her window and a little chameleon named Pascal. Her hair grew longer and longer, until it was a river of gold flowing all the way to the ground. She spent her days painting the walls of her room with scenes from her dreams, singing beautiful songs, and wondering about the floating lights she saw in the sky every year on her birthday. She longed to see them up close, to know what they were. She felt a connection to them, a pull she couldn't explain. She would ask Mother Gothel about them, but Gothel would always dismiss her, saying the world outside was a dangerous and cruel place, and she was safest in the tower. One day, a charming and handsome prince from a nearby kingdom was riding through the forest. He was lost, but then he heard the most enchanting singing voice he had ever heard. He followed the sound and discovered the mysterious tower Iwasamase. No door, no stairs, just a single window high above. He hid and watched as Mother Gothel arrived and called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." He saw the incredible braid fall down and watched Gothel climb up. He now knew the secret to entering the tower. The next day after Gothel had left, the prince came to the bottom of the tower. Taking a deep breath, he mimicked Gothel's voice and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel, thinking it was Gothel, let her braid down. Imagine her surprise when a handsome young man climbed into her room. At first, she was frightened, remembering all of Gothel's warnings, but the prince was kind and gentle. He told her about the world outside, about the castles, the festivals, and the cities. He was fascinated by her paintings and her stories, and Rapunzel was enchanted by his tales. of a world she had only dreamed of. The prince started visiting Rapunzel every day. They would talk for hours, and slowly they fell in love. Rapunzel finally felt like she wasn't alone. The prince told her about the floating lights. They were lanterns, released every year by the king and queen in memory of their lost princess, hoping one day she would see them and return home. Rapunzel's heart fluttered. Could it be? She realized the lanterns appeared on her birthday. A plan began to form in her mind. She would finally leave the tower. Rapunzel asked the prince to bring her a skein of silk every time he visited. She planned to weave a ladder strong enough for her to climb down and escape the tower forever. She worked in secret, hiding the ladder from Mother Gothel. But one day, Rapunzel made a mistake. While talking to Gothel, she innocently mentioned how much heavier the prince was to pull up than she was. Gothel's face turned to thunder. She had been discovered. In a fit of rage, she took a pair of scissors and snip, snip. She cut off Rapunzel's beautiful, long, magical hair. Then the cruel enchantress cast Rapunzel out of the tower and into a desolate wilderness to fend for herself. Gothel then waited in the tower for the prince. When he called out, she let down the severed braid. The prince climbed up, excited to see his beloved Rapunzel, only to be met by the evil face of Mother Gothel. She cackled and told him he would never see Rapunzel again. Heartbroken and in despair, the prince leaped from the tower. He survived the fall, but he landed in thorns, which blinded him. He was left to wander the wilderness, alone and unable to see, calling out Rapunzel's name. For years, the prince wandered, surviving on roots and berries, his heart aching for his lost love. And Rapunzel, too, survived in the wilderness. She learned to be strong and resourceful. One day, the prince stumbled into the part of the wilderness where Rapunzel was living. He heard a familiar, beautiful singing voice. It was a sad song, but it was filled with hope. He followed the sound, calling her name. Rapunzel. Is that you? Rapunzel saw the blind prince and ran to him. They embraced, weeping with joy and sorrow. As Rapunzel's tears fell onto the prince's face, a magical thing happened. The healing power, which had once been in her hair, was now in her tears. His sight was restored. The first thing he saw was the face of his beloved. Overjoyed, the prince led Rapunzel back to his kingdom. When they arrived, the entire court was astounded. The king and queen, now old and gray, saw Rapunzel and instantly recognized their long-lost date. Their family was finally reunited, and the kingdom celebrated 4 days. The lanterns they had released for so many years had finally guided their princess home. Rapunzel and the prince were married, and they ruled the kingdom with kindness and wisdom. And as for Mother Gothel, without the magic of Rapunzel's hair, she grew old and withered away, her power gone forever. And so, Rapunzel and her prince lived happily ever after, their love proving stronger than any tower or dark magic. Thank you for joining our story time today. Wasn't that a wonderful adventure? Remember, even when things seem dark, there is always hope and light to guide you home. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more magical stories. See you next time, little dreamers. Bye. Bye.